Welcome to Big Life Weekly Series, where we empower high achievers to break free from limits, unlock their natural potential, and live a big life. I'm your host, Robert Acosta, and each week we will explore the strategies, mindsets, and tools you need to thrive, not just in your professional career, but in every aspect of your life. Whether you're a leader looking for a better balanced life, an entrepreneur aiming for sustainable success, or someone ready to take the next step toward your best self, this podcast is your space to grow, reflect, and take action. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, I'm Robert Acosta. I'm with Kiley from Business in a Box in Virginia, USA. Welcome, Kiley.
Hi, you guys. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Robert. Thanks for the invite.
Well, my pleasure. Let's jump right in and start showcasing your business. So, Kiley, can you give us a 90-second overview of what your business does and why you got into it?
I can, and thanks for asking. I've had Business in a Box since 2010, and Business in a Box does something very simple. I help people start businesses, and I help them rapidly grow. I started this business out of I came from a contractor's daughter. My father was a self-made contractor after being a retired military. And I saw my subs that I called my uncles. I mean, they were very close to us. They were great at building a fence or landscaping or painting or putting a roof on. And they were great at that, but they really did not know how to grow and scale their businesses. And most of them were like, listen, we're like 2 months from getting paid and sending out invoices because they're so busy just running the minutia of their business. So I said to myself, I'm going to fix this. And I did. So I work with any sort of industry that is service based primarily. And I help you grow and scale by helping you with the automations, the websites, the texting, the invoices that automatically go out, all those things so that you can actually go and increase your business and work on your business. That's what I do.
That's perfect. So yeah, that way they focus on what they do best, right? And
Exactly.
all the other
Exactly.
nonsense, they taken care of by other means, right? So what do you enjoy most about your work in this business? I think it's digital marketing or digital business, right?
What do I enjoy most? There's a lot of things that I enjoy, but one of the things I'm very passionate about, I've always mentored other entrepreneurs. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had more than 10 businesses, and typically I've got 3 or 4 going at one time, right? And I love the fact that I don't care what your story is. I don't care that you either have a high school diploma, whatever it might be. Maybe you're a consultant, and today we know that a lot of people are being laid off, right? And that just hurts me. That hurts my heart. So I'm like, listen, how about if you never had to have that happen again and you start your own business so that you can be financially free and free of ever having that sort of thing happen. So that's one of the things I love most is giving people hope, seeing it in their eyes, seeing them excited, and then thinking like, oh my gosh, I never thought I could have my own business.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's incredible to think that I don't know, maybe 200 years ago, we all have businesses. This invention of jobs is just recently in human history, right? So now we're going back to have or to live the way we used to live and do the way we used to earn money. So I think it's natural for us having our own business, even though we have been told a different story. That's why people look for jobs, but I think that's a good thing that you do, that just remember or recalling people that, you know what, you're more made to have your own business rather than having a job or working for someone else, right? So in that case,
Absolutely, Robert.
how do you define success in the work you do?
How I do, so, and I'll talk a little bit about my nonprofit in a little bit because my nonprofit's very important to me. Last year, I spent a lot of time with working with women's Kairos prison ministry. And I would go into the prisons. This is just nothing about business. You're there to support and listen, and you sing kumbaya songs and give them support, honestly.
That's amazing.
And I sat there and I said, swear to goodness, Lord, if anybody needs business in a box, these people do. These women do. Because when they get out, they get the worst jobs, if they can find a job, because of their records, because of they've already paid their time. So how can we push them forward as to not continually keeping them down? So I spent the last year redefining a version of business in a box so that I could have a department of corrections. And I now want to be able to, my nonprofit, it's called Wings of Growth, and it raises money for the reentry community, veterans, and first responders. And so that's just my passion project, that I know that community suffers with a different kind of issue as far as getting jobs after they get out of whatever kind. So that's what I would say my most satisfaction is. And when I say, all right, how do I gauge some success? When I see people like Kiley, I never thought that I could do this. And now they have a successful business. And that success is gauged. We do coaching on an every weekly basis. So I get to see them. I get to see them smile and say, yes, that worked. And I just brought on 2 more clients. And they have more time with their families. That's how I gauge the success.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I just put in my mind the vision, these 2 visions of what we were talking about, the jail that you mentioned, but rather than a jail, I thought of a room, and then this job security fallacy. So I think we all need to get into a room. So we jailed in a room for a moment and then get out through the other door with a box and say, this is your business. So go and live your life the right way. So that's the even.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm just curious.
That's great, Robert.
I'm just curious, what is the biggest problem, or let's say, what is the biggest challenge you see in this industry that you help entrepreneurs being successful, and how are you solving that for yourself, your clients, or colleagues?
Okay, I think on the most, it starts with self-confidence. Honestly, it starts with self-confidence, because they put a lot of barriers up as to, well, I've got to go do all these legal things. For example, I'm going to use a cleaning business because that's a really, really good lucrative business. And to be honest with you, you don't really need to know a lot. Yeah. You need to know how to clean, right? Now, you need to know how to run your business, but that's my job. So the thing I think that holds people back is this whole minutia of, oh, but I gotta go and get an LLC, and how much does that cost, and I gotta bring on an attorney and do all of this. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not right at the beginning. You need to be a hustler. You need to be, you want to be able to, you have to have that gumption, I'm going to call it, the drive. The rest can come. So, because let's say, now if you've got, I'm not saying that it's not smart to go and get your LLC first. You can. But if you don't have the financial means to go get the LLC first, leave it. You can do it next month. You can do it once you start bringing in some money. So I think that's one of the things that hold people back. Plus, they get overwhelmed with all the things of like, well, how am I going to go get my first client? You know what? You're going to put one foot in front of the other, and you're going to do it.
Yeah, I think in one word is the challenge is the mindset, the way we are wired. And unfortunately, we are not wired to be entrepreneurs that take some risks and go after what we want, but just try to keep our life safe in a safe way. So getting a job, and I always say it's a fallacy, but we think that it's the safest way to go through life. And I would say it's the opposite. It's less safest way. So yeah, so it's mindset. The mindset is crucial for everything, but now I see that for being an entrepreneur, it's even more important, right?
It is
So
mindset and confidence.
yeah, that's perfect. So who is your ideal client then, and what significant outcomes can they expect when they work with you?
So the ideal client for me is two different kinds, I think. Service based, again, I do really well with the people in the contractors construction world, right? Because they have some skill sets. They probably grew up cutting trees, right? They worked on that. They did that for, during high school summers or whatever. Or they're really good at tinkering. They're just kind of an all around handyman. They know how to paint, they know how to clean, but they don't know what can be next. So they stick with working for someone instead of working for themselves. Right. So I call that a small business. That's an ideal client for me. Right now, with what's going on in the world, I'm going to say consultants, because we know, especially like in the US, there's a lot of people being laid off, and it's not their first time. So they want to, I'm going to say they kick themselves in the pants because they said to themselves last time when it happened, I didn't want this to happen again. I knew I needed to do and start my consulting business, right? And so that's a really good client for me as well, is somebody that's in that consulting space, which is a lot of our governmental employees, right? A lot of people that have research experience, background experience, consulting experience, and you too can start your consulting business today and never have this happen to you again as far as being laid off.
Yeah, you're never gonna fire yourself, I guess, until you quit. If you quit in your business, but that's not the purpose. So you know how nowadays more people are actively seeking solutions to achieve better outcomes. So what makes you unique, Kylie, in the way you help them achieve those outcomes?
I like that. Thank you. I think what's really important is, first of all, listening to their needs, listening to their fears, which then helps you identify those, what could be the solution. What's the problem and what could be the solution? So what we do, and I have an entire team that helps out. My goal is to have your business up and running within 8 to 10 days. All right. So we do a deep dive as to, hey, Robert, tell me what are you good at? What do you like to do? What's your passion? Because if you're not passionate about it, then stop chasing it. Let's pick something that you're passionate about. Right. And then I try to hone in on that so that we can turn it into a business. All right. So I could use research, right? One of my clients was really good at doing research for college students, right? So I said, okay, great. Let's do something as far as research. Now I'm going to change the name just because, but it's called KM McKay, research. So now what she's on Fiverr. She's making $150 to $200 per gig, not having a minimum wage job in that situation. But what we do is we're very rapid at looking at the situation, getting a logo, having your landing pages, having a funnel, having a very specific CRM that does the work in automations for you so that you're not having to think about, oh, I still got to send an invoice. Nope. Click the button, invoice is sent. Then you get a text, your client gets a text, pay the invoice or do whatever. So I want to be able to solve those problems as to taking out the chaos of that day-to-day operations.
Yeah, that way they, as I would say, they focus on what they are passionate about, right? Passionate about. So can you share with us what's the strangest or funniest incident that you have experienced while working in your business? Something
I can.
surprising, maybe.
I can. Yeah, you know what? It's because So sometimes, people will get this harebrained idea. No, there's no bad idea, right? There's no bad idea.
I agree.
But there's ideas that might need a little bit of cultivation, a little bit of work there. And so I had this one client, and she loved to bake. And so she happened to be this cowgirl. This was in Arizona because I am still nationwide. And she says, Kiley, I have this idea. What I want you to do is I want you to help me to start this business, and I'm going to use cupcakes, and I'm only going to do the rodeo. So they're going to be rodeo cupcakes. I'm like, okay. So you're only going to sell them at the rodeo, and they're going to be cowboy cupcakes and that kind of thing. And she's going to have a little stall at the rodeo, so which is quite big in Arizona. But there's only one or two. It's not like how many cupcakes are you going to make and how much money are you going to make at one rodeo. So I had to really kind of talk to her in the sense of like, okay, so tell me about these cupcakes and what do they look like? And she's got the girl cowboy, like a girl cowgirl and a cowboy cupcakes. And she also has them for little kids. Like, well, that's quite cute.
Right.
Why not do this? And so what we did is we actually turned her business from just being at the rodeo, which, by the way, the first when she launched, she was at the rodeo, and believe it or not, she had lines waiting for these cowgirl cowboy cupcakes, right? But I did convince her to have a little kid's birthday, a birthday line of cupcakes, so that people could order for their kids the cupcakes. And she's doing phenomenal. She has 2 locations now.
Wow. Yeah, as you say, there's not a bad idea. Maybe start small and then you scale them. That's beautiful to do.
And tweak them.
And tweak
them.
Yeah. That's 2 minds works better than one. So that's the kind of things you do. And I know your business is like a consultant. You're a consultant of other businesses in order to help them scale and do the things that automate the things that they don't need to do by themselves and they don't like to do. So what do you see as the coming trends within your business, the business of helping other entrepreneurs or small business to scale, and how are you staying on top of that?
Well, for us, I require people to have, they join a coaching. So it's a mentor session. So part of what they get, first of all, I like to say people, once you're in my family of Business in a Box, you're always on. If you're gone now and you haven't been on for a year, but like let's say you are an excavation company, right? And you're really doing well and you're growing, and all of a sudden you get the opportunity to bid out, or like it's a massive job, whatever, $500,000 job, and you can't handle it yourself. So I've had people like, Kiley, what do I do, right? So every Tuesday at 4:00, people are on my BIB training, and we work on their businesses, on the advice that's been given, depending on any level and any scale that you're at. Some people are just starting out, and some people have been on for 4 years. So their level is going to be different,
right.
But it's awesome because everybody learns.
Of course.
Like they get to learn from people that are more experienced than them, and that gives them encouragement, right? So that is the part of the biggest thing is you never stop learning, you never start growing in your business, and you never start working on it at different levels. But I want you out there growing your business, not doing I'm going to say the minutia of the things that can be automated and done for you.
Yeah, I always say that there's this saying that if you want to have different results, you have to do different things. Well, let me tell you, if you want the same results, you have to do different things because the world is moving too fast. So if you stay in the same place, you're going backwards. So you have to be learning and learning and learning all the time. So I think that's a very, very good way to see it. And I think it's very important that people understand that there are no experts. I always say that the experts are very well suited for a world that doesn't exist anymore because the change is the name of the game. So, what advice would you give to someone just starting within this consultant business or this helping other entrepreneurs? What would you say to these people that just starting their business? The business is what you're doing.
I Yeah, no. I love that question because I say, first of all, um, follow your passion, do what you love, and the money will follow. And a lot of people think, oh my gosh, that is such a cliche, right? That really doesn't happen. No, it does. It does. I tell my kids, if you don't like it, change it, fix it. Now, thank goodness, I have three amazing, wonderful kids, and they all love what they do, right?
Great.
But that they love what they do. I could never imagine ever doing something I don't love.
Right.
I just couldn't. And that's really important because a lot of people would say, oh, but you would, then what? You would just not have a job. Like, I would never be one of these people that commute 2 hours there and 2 hours back. I just wouldn't do it. I'd figure something else out. I really honestly would.
Yeah.
And if you really deep down inside and say to yourself, I'm really tired of commuting, right? Then you've got to look and see, how is that affecting your family and how is that affecting your mindset? And are you really happy? Because you only got one life and it goes by super fast,
Right.
right? So again, do what you love, the money will follow. And then no matter what, get a mentor. Find somebody that you can talk to, that can help you, that's going to be real and raw for you. And that's why mentoring for me has always been so important. I started a small mentor project in South Africa. I spent 14 years in and out of Africa. And it's exceptionally important because, when you're starting out, you need that person to say, hey, Robert, now let's look at this. How did that go for you? Let's turn it and figure out something different. You got to be able to have that tough love.
Yeah, and I think it applies, yes, when you're starting, of course, you need that mentorship, but also if you really want to have an impact or do something of significance, you're not going to do it alone. If it's going to be something big, nobody does something really of significance that impact a lot of people alone. You're always surrounded by coaches and mentors and people helping you, and you do it as a group, you do it as a team. But if you only want if you going after something small, maybe you just need this push at the beginning and that's it. But really, you have the potential to do something bigger once you started to do it, right? So
I like that, Robert. I like that a lot. I like that analogy of impacting because that's important to me.
I think so. So what is the one thing that has been the most instrumental in your success, you would say?
Never giving up. Never giving up. Finding the right team and finding that right mentor to help. At various different phases in my life, I've needed various different levels of a mentor, a friend, somebody that can really, really excel you and catapult you to the next level. And I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. And if you stay small, like if you stay small-minded and only a small group because maybe you're afraid to get out of your, out of your way, out of your zone, then you're never going to find that person that can say, wait a second here, how would you like to impact, a million people on the planet? Well, yeah, I want to. Well, then let's do this instead of that. How about if you did this? So like right now, I'm going to use my nonprofit as an example. This is my first time I ever started a nonprofit, right? I've been on a board of a nonprofit. I've done a lot of volunteer work on a nonprofit, but it's my first startup for a nonprofit. So I found a nonprofit mentor, and guess what? I'm paying for that, right? Because you have to step it up, and so that's, I think, is the significance, is getting out of your comfort zone, and finding that person that can really help catapult you.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have, a great thing to do. So, if you talk about the future, let's talk about the future. What is the next growth area for you personally and for your business?
Well, because I do believe that my next level is Business in a Box is nationwide, because I teach people on Zoom. I teach people on Facebook. It doesn't really make any difference. I also want to be able to have a licensing option where that I can help other coaches and consultants do the same thing. It could still be in their field, but my big, audacious, big, bold prayer is that I get my program into every single prison on the planet, and that I start working with every church on the planet to help more people.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, well, that's not only at your next level. It's a purpose. It's more than a goal. It's a purpose. I think the way I see it, right? That's amazing. So
Thank you.
let me ask you this funny question now. If you could have lunch with one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Okay. This is just off the top of my head, okay?
Yeah.
And that's only because I just kind of mentioned, and I'm praying big in order to get in front of this particular person, right? So that's what I would say. So I'm a big fan of Joel Osteen, Lakewood Church. It's a mega church here in the U.S.
Yeah, I know.
And you know what? So I would say him only because that's one of my goals, is to be able to get in front of them. And to be honest with you, it's like any church that really does really, really big things, because again, going back to our churches, they can make a huge difference.
Right.
So that would be who I would pick. If I had more time to think about it, I'd kind of come up with some sort of like, Abraham Lincoln, but that's not for today.
It's okay. Well, the next time you can choose another one, so Abraham Lincoln could be the one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect, Kiley. So, what is the best way for people to contact you if they'd like to work with you or discuss referral partnerships?
So I say the easiest thing. So Kiley Doll, that's my name. There's not too many of me out there. So you could find me on LinkedIn, Kiley Doll. I have a big LinkedIn presence. My VA told me on Monday morning, Kiley, you just hit 14,000 people on LinkedIn. So I'm like, yes. And also Facebook. We could just make it easy, Kiley Doll. And but you can also find us at Kiley at ibusinessinabox.com.
Perfect. Well, that was amazing. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you very much, Kiley, for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you for what you do, and the way you do it, I love. It's such a great, it feels like, you're doing a show instead of a podcast. And so how you've done it, Robert, has been really, really great. So I just want to commend you for that.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for joining me on Big Life Weekly series. I hope today's episode gave you the insight, inspiration, and tools you need to move closer to the life you're meant to live. Remember, true success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about how you feel while you achieving it. If you found value in our conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with others who are ready to embrace their big life. Until next time, stay focused, keep growing, enjoy life, and break free.